You see them, right? Under the bright lights of Arthur Ashe or Center Court, lifting those massive trophies, cashing those million-dollar checks. It's the dream. But what does it actually take to get there? Well, forget the highlight reels for a second. Today, we're going to deconstruct the real, data-driven journey of a pro tennis player. And honestly, the numbers are pretty shocking. We're going to start with the most sobering one of all. So get this, of all the super talented, highly ranked junior players in the world, we're talking the kids who give their entire childhood to the sport. Less than 1% will ever earn a single ATP or WTA ranking point. Not make a living, not win a tournament, just one single point. It's insane. So for that tiny, tiny fraction of a percent who do make it, what does their path even look like? What is the real cost of chasing that dream? That's the big question we're digging into today, the years of investment, the massive decisions, and yeah, the harsh realities of life on tour. So where does this whole thing even begin? Well, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it starts way, way before anyone's earning a paycheck. It all starts with a decade of development. This timeline really lays it out, doesn't it? Becoming a pro tennis player isn't some hobby that just happens to turn into a career. No way. It's a decade-plus commitment that kicks off when you're barely in elementary school. By age 10, kids are often specializing, leaving other sports behind. By 14, they're already on planes, flying to international tournaments. And then at 18, they hit a massive, life-altering fork in the road. I'm sure you've heard of that 10,000-hour rule to master something. Well, in the world of elite tennis, that's just your ticket to the dance. It's the bare minimum. Studies show that top juniors absolutely blow past that number, often hitting 15,000 hours of focused, deliberate practice before they're even old enough to vote. This isn't just a sport, it's your entire life. And all those hours, they come with a truly staggering price tag. We're talking over $100,000 a year for a family with an elite junior player. And that's not some outlier, that's the average cost. It immediately turns the sport into a massive, massive financial gamble. So where is all that cash going? Well, as you can see, coaching and travel are the two biggest monsters, eating up 75% of the budget combined. This creates this huge barrier to entry. I mean, you're not just paying for tennis lessons, you're basically funding a small mobile startup where your kid is the CEO, the only employee, the whole shebang, and there is absolutely no guarantee you'll ever see a return on that investment. Okay, so after that decade of insane investment of time and money, the player gets to this crossroads. And for most of them, this is the single most important decision they're going to make for their career. Do I go to college, or do I turn pro right now? And here are the two paths laid out plain and simple. The direct pro route, that's the traditional high-risk, high-reward gamble. You're all in, but man, you are on your own, financially and emotionally. It's sink or swim. The college path, though, is looking more and more like the smarter bet. It gives you a crucial safety net, a degree, time to mature physically, and you get to compete at a super high level, often on a full scholarship. And this is exactly why college has become such a great option. Pro tennis just isn't a teenager's sport anymore. The tour is so physical, such a grind, that players are peaking way later in their careers. The average age in the top 100 is now over 27. So those 4 years in college, they're not a delay. For a lot of players, they're essential prep for a longer, more sustainable career. All right, so let's say a player gets through the junior gauntlet, makes the right call at 18, and actually makes it onto the pro tour. They've won the lottery, right? Life is good. Well, not so fast. Now we get to the real price of the prize, the absolutely brutal financial reality of being a professional tennis player. Before we dive into the prize money, you gotta understand this one key idea, the break-even point. This isn't about getting rich, this isn't about profit, this is just the ranking a player needs to hit to not lose money over a whole season on tour. And that number, it's around 150 in the world. Let that sink in for a second. You have to be one of the top 150 players on the entire planet just to cover your costs for the year. Anybody ranked below that is likely paying out of their own pocket or relying on sponsors or family just to keep their dream alive. The income gap in tennis is just extreme. A top 10 player is living in a completely different financial universe. But now, look down that chart. All the way down to a player ranked 250th. Still one of the best players in the world, right? Their prize money, around $50,000 bucks, probably doesn't even cover half of what they spend on expenses in a year. So, what this really means is for the hundreds and hundreds of players we call professionals who are ranked outside the top 200, tennis is not a profitable job. It's a passion they are literally paying to pursue, all while hoping for that one big break, that one great tournament run that could change everything.
And the cost isn't just financial, it is a massive mental grind. This quote from a sports psychology journal just nails it. The sport basically demands that you have this almost delusional level of self-belief, that you can succeed, even when the rankings, the scores, and the weekly losses are all screaming that you should probably just stop. And this is that hidden gauntlet that every single tour player has to run. I mean, think about it. In a 128-player tournament, 127 of them end their week with a loss. You're living out of a suitcase, you're alone, you're dealing with constant pressure and financial anxiety. Mental toughness isn't some bonus skill here. It's the #1 tool for survival. Which brings us right back to where we started. We've deconstructed the whole journey, the cost, the odds, the whole shebang. We've seen the decade of sacrifice, the 6-figure annual price tag, and the razor-thin margin between breaking even and going broke. For that tiny fraction who make it to the top, the prize is obviously immense. But for the 99% who don't, it leaves us with one final, really tough question. Is the pursuit really worth the price?